to the Mild Sharma Show. I'm your host, Mild Sharma. Almost the end of 2020. And to commemorate the new year, 2021, I'm going to talk about a subject that really isn't talked about much. And that is entitlement thinking. Which the Merriam-Webster dictionary categorizes as the belief that one is deserving of or entitled to certain privileges. This mindset that one is entitled to a life full of comfort, stability, predictability, and order is very damaging. I mean, this year proved it. Look at 2020. Look at everything that happened. The instability, the chaos of the streets, with the protests, riots, all that stuff going on. The coronavirus, with lockdowns, with colleges, campuses closing, the uncertainty, all being cut off from friends. All these things aren't expected, and they're not stable either. And if you feel that you're entitled to having certain privileges like this, and they're taken away from you, instead of coming up with a clear-cut solution in dealing with the crisis, many entitled people complain about what they don't have, and complain about why they are suffering. Why is this happening to me? Why? And I'm not saying that we've all complained before. I've complained before. I'm guilty of it. It happens. But repeating this mistake over and over and over again is a huge error that I see amongst many people. Most young people from my direct experience. But even with older people also. It happens to the best of us. And it's very toxic. Because you're not putting your energy to good use. We all have finite energy. We're not infinite. We're not any god. We're not infinite. We're finite. And it's important to use our limited energy toward productivity, innovating, being creative. So I wrote an article about this a while ago on my website, themildansharma.com. And, I'm just going to read some statements from it. So hundreds of years ago, think about this. Hundreds of years ago, men would be stripped from their families at a young age and forced to complete rigorous tasks like stealing and fighting to survive. So in other words, survival of the fittest. And in Spartan culture, men would be put into the forest for about a week or more to survive on their own without the help of others. It was either they die a gruesome death, originating from disease and hunger, and probably other things, maybe predators would get them in the forest, who knows, or they steal food from the villages and risk being caught and being beaten by a whip. This was how Spartans molded warriors, so that they could withstand the uncertainties of war and continue fighting on against their enemies. They were trained to be physically impeccable from the moment they surpass infancy to be beasts till they die. So, of course, this is an extreme example. I'm not saying go to the forest and strip yourself from medical and nutritional needs. Of course, that's not the case. But going back into history, human beings were almost really meant to be in unstable conditions. Things where nothing is really predictable. And we live, at least I live in a first world country where I'm fortunate enough to be living in a house, having food, water, and shelter, and all these aspects. But young people at universities and throughout the world have an entitled mindset where they believe they deserve special treatment. They deserve to have their point of view supersede the opinions of others because of their identity or something like that, which is very wrong. We're all human beings. Everybody deserves a foot at the table, and when you're debating, when you're in a political argument, when you're in philosophical argument, no one should ever denigrate the person for their opinion. Because if they truly believe there's nothing wrong with their opinion, then that's fine. You debate it, and you try to change their mind civilly, not in an argumentative way. So in the United States, over half, and this is the thing, with Western culture, our culture doesn't mold people that are beasts physically and mentally. Because in the United States, over half of the population is overweight. And people are concerned more about hurting the feelings of others than actually solving issues at hand to save their lives. And that goes along with the body positivity thing, where, yes, it's meant to, of course, I'm not saying become a stick. That's foolish. It's foolish to starve yourself to be thin. But when people are overweight and they have heart disease and diabetes, are more likely to have all these things, more likely to develop cancer, all these certain things. When there's a movement that does not address these really fatal issues, it's a huge problem. And people want to feel entitled and say, this is my body, I'm comfortable in my own skin. Fine. If anybody calls you out on unhealthy behavior, unhealthy diets, do not try to cancel them when they do that. And that goes into another issue with something called cancel culture, which is very toxic also, because yes, it's the purpose of it is good moral judgment. I understand why they did it, because there's racial aspects in life that should not be ignored at all, and they should be addressed. But canceling someone's voice, first of all, it infringes on the free speech. But second of all, it almost does a disservice to what the Founding Fathers said, which is dialogue, debating, winning an argument. People like Socrates have done this. Winning an argument in the public. When you cancel somebody else, you're almost scared of what they have to say back. And that's very dangerous. Let's continue. So basically, you don't want this. So how do we create a society that is not built around an entitled mindset? Because when I'm a young guy, I'm 21. When I'm looking for a job, all of these things, I'm expecting to try multiple times. I'm not expecting someone to hand me a silver platter. And I think a lot of people expect that. They expect special treatment. They expect, because they're a certain type of way, they deserve to be treated well. And of course, I'd like to be treated well, but think to yourself, when there's mean people in the world, when there's rude people in the world, you need to be resilient and face them. Because you only grow stronger when you face your fears. And that's something that is not taught not only by, I don't know if it's not taught by parents who want to put their children in a bubble, or maybe their friends want to put their friends in a bubble, but they need to face them, face their darkest fears. They need to, in order to progress in life. If you don't, then you're going to be in the same position, just not really progressing. In fact, you may be declining, really. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Getting rid of entitlement thinking is huge. It's very important. And because you want to grow from your struggles. I mean, many famous people say, if you don't struggle, if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. You keep failing and failing until you reach that plateau, that really high peak. And you keep going. You keep going the whole way. So thank you guys for tuning in. That's just a quick video from my part. Please subscribe, like, share, and thank you for listening. Have a fantastic day. And Happy New Year.